Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, honored guests, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. The highest honor the Senate of a university can confer upon an individual is an honorary doctorate. At the University of Manitoba, the criteria include distinguished achievement in scholarship, the arts, or public service. Our honorary graduate this morning is Strinivasan Reddy. Strinivasan Reddy is a teacher and a fighter. Throughout his 42-year career as an educator, working in 5 countries, he earned a well-deserved reputation for fighting tirelessly for social justice and peace by combating racism and its consequences. Today, this friendly rebel and champion of those less able to fight for themselves is being honored by his alma mater. We also welcome members of his family who are joining us in this celebration, and we thank you for being here, and friends as well. And I'd just like to say at this time that Strini's partner Amelia is unable to be here this morning as she's convalescing from a heart operation. So please keep her in mind as we go through this, as Strini will. Mr. Reddy began teaching in 1956 in South Africa's Natal province, where he also met and married his lifetime partner and ally, Amelia, and their first child, Vijay, was born. In 1962, they moved to Southern Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, where their second child, Kumaran, was born. And he taught for 2 years before he became the assistant principal and chief examiner at a boarding school in Zambia. They later moved to London, England, where their third child, Nalini, was born, and Strini taught for 1 year before arriving in Natal, Manitoba, where he was a teacher and administrator, as well as the coordinator of Brandon University's Northern Teacher Education Program. In 1975, he graduated from the University of Manitoba with a Bachelor of Education. After earning his master's in 1979, he became a consultant for English as a second language with Manitoba Education, working mainly in northern Aboriginal communities. He then went on to work in Frontier School Division, where in 1985 he became the first ever Chief Superintendent. In 1992 he taught at Brandon University, and in 1993 he took the post of Executive Director of the Manitoba Association of School Superintendents. Through all these years, wherever he went, he was a strong community leader and builder. And he continues to work with community organizations and to improve education and combat child poverty. For 10 years, ending last year, he worked with Healthy Child Manitoba to develop the local parent-child committees now found in every part of Manitoba. Until the program ended last year, he was the Manitoba coordinator for Project Love, which, with the help of Manitoba school children, annually sent upwards of 15,000 kits of basic school supplies to students in the most poverty-stricken countries in Africa. He is long-standing chair of the South Africa Education Support Committee, which conducts annual fundraising activities in support of AIDS, orphans, and vulnerable children in his home province of KwaZulu-Natal. He is also a co-founder of the Summer Learning Enrichment Program for Winnipeg's inner-city children. This free program operates 5 days a week for 5 weeks during the summer months, providing food, cultural enrichment, and education to children. Mr. Reddy is past chairman of the Boys and Girls Club of Winnipeg, where he continues to serve as a volunteer. And from 2004 to 2007, he was a member of the University of Manitoba's Board of Governors. His contributions to education and social justice have earned him awards from the Canadian Council for Multicultural and Intercultural Education, the Canadian Association of School Administrators, TESOL Manitoba, the University of Manitoba. In 2000, Mr. Reddy was named a member of the Order of Manitoba. Mr. Reddy is a visionary educator. He sees past obstructions to focus instead on possibilities and opportunities. His passion and integrity inspire others to improve the lives of children and their families in Manitoba, Canada, and Africa. For over 40 years, he has guided and influenced generations of young people, education leaders, and social justice advocates. He is a champion of social justice, racial understanding, literacy, and poverty reduction, and he has not stopped working. The University of Manitoba is proud to award its distinguished alumnus, Ms. Strinivasan Reddy, with an Honorary Doctor of Laws. And you can expect, if you do something noteworthy in the next couple of months or years or weeks or days, that you will get a call from Dr. Reddy congratulating you and urging you on and thinking about other ways you might help. Mr. Chancellor, it is an honor for me to ask on behalf of the Senate of the University of Manitoba that you confer upon Strinivasan Reddy the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor of this university, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining. Congratulations, Dr. Reddy.
Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, honored guests, faculty, students, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a distinct pleasure for me to be with you on this beautiful morning. When I looked out of the window this morning to greet the beautiful day, my mind went back to an ancient Sanskrit poem which is called the Salutation of the Dawn. And it says, "Listen to the exhortation of the dawn. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation of the dawn." I accept this honor today in the name of the countless people who give so selflessly of their time and energy in an effort to create a more just, equitable, and compassionate society and world, respectful and mindful of the needs of our fellow human beings who are in need of a helping hand and a helping heart. These are the people who are worthy of the descriptors to which this university, my alma mater, urges you to strive: pioneer, creator, defender, trailblazer, challenger, visionary, innovator, adventurer, rebel. In yesterday's Free Press, I saw the convocation announcement. I was especially impressed by the words beside the picture representing you, the graduating students. It read, "I am a trailblazer. My convocation today from the University of Manitoba means that I am ready to explore, to blaze a trail, to take the next step for myself and for my community. This is an important reminder that we are, each of us, responsible for the well-being of ourselves as well as for that of the community or communities to which we belong. In his book titled On Equilibrium, John Ralston Saul asks, "How should I live given the context of the larger good?" And he goes on to say, the larger good assumes the existence of the other, of the family, of the community. This is a belief that is as old as humankind. There is an ancient African word that has become well known around the world. It is one that is used by people like Nelson Mandela and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. The word is Ubuntu. It means humanity to others. It also means I am what I am because of who we all are. In recent years, I've been encouraged by the efforts of my university to promote a spirit of community as well as responsibility for the greater good. On this campus, there exist numerous examples of the generosity of spirit of students, of staff, of faculty, and administration. It is to the credit of this university that a couple of years ago they instituted what was called the co-curricular record, which means that they formally acknowledge the many contributions in social service that our students at this university contribute each year. I was a very privileged member of the university team that attended We Day last fall, and I was delighted to listen to Tito Daudu, who is graduating from the Faculty of Medicine here this year, speak about how she found out about challenges where children in her home country of Nigeria were subject to a high incidence of pneumonia. And rather than do her work, her practicum, her research here, she struggled to make sure that she had to go down and join researchers in her home country. She spoke about this to a wildly enthusiastic crowd at We Day, telling them how a student from this university could carve a path that then took her back to her home country and helped her help vulnerable children. A couple of months ago, I came down to the the AMSU building here on campus to visit with students who were sleeping outside overnight, to raise awareness of the plight of the homeless and to provide whatever support they could. In this hall today, sitting here before me, there are numerous students who have volunteered their time and talents in programs and initiatives that provide opportunities for children and youth who come from families and communities who are not as fortunate as many of us are. When I met some of these students recently and thanked them for their caring and for their generosity, they made it very clear to me that they believed that it was they who were the beneficiaries of the service that they provided, and they had benefited tremendously from the experience. It is now my hope that those students, as well as each of you, will continue to be involved in some area of service, no matter how small, whether you are going to be on campus or not. Although we live in an affluent country, we are all aware of the many inequities and injustices faced by so many of our fellow citizens. The plight of the poor and underprivileged, among whom our Aboriginal brothers and sisters are so unconscionably highly represented, should be of great concern to all of us. We must be especially aware of what we can do in our own small way to contribute to the well-being of the young, the vulnerable, the underprivileged, and the weakest members of our society. John mentioned that I work with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Winnipeg. I met a young person a few years ago who was introduced to me as someone who had been in difficulties and who had emerged from those difficulties thanks to the support of a number of caring people. What struck me right in the heart was the fact that this young person, who was then 14 years old, a few months previously had written a poem called "There Are No Windows Here." And the poem said, "There are no windows in this place for me to show my weary face. Reach out and hold my soul that at times I cannot control. What's the point of being here when being me is what I fear? Every day it's all the same, trapped again in my own pain. I cry myself to sleep, so many secrets I must keep. No one to reach out to, nobody cares. I'm trapped in the middle of distant stairs. I've prayed that I could be free of this grief that's filling me. Everywhere I turn, every bridge I burn, There are no windows in this place for me to show my face. First of all, it struck me that a child could suffer so much pain at that young age. But then I was filled with hope because there were people who cared enough to help this child emerge from that sad state. Mother Teresa used to say, "We can do no great things, only small things with great love." And if you remember the poem by Emily Dickinson, she said, "If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain." While thinking about your long-term goals, ask yourself also what you can do in the present to be of service to your community, your city, your province, your country. As Thomas Carlyle wrote, our main business is not to see what lies dimly in the distance, but to do what lies clearly at hand. If you are leaving this university and moving on, I urge you to stay connected and support the many wonderful social justice and other initiatives that exist on this campus. If you're going to remain on campus, continue to discover the exciting community service programs that are doing so much good, and become involved if you are not already contributing. In you, we have a huge pool of generosity, talent, and energy, and we are counting on you to be sure that we continue to build on this huge community. You will all have heard of the remarkable Canadian Jean Vanier, the founder of l'Arche, the International Network of Communities for People with Developmental Disabilities. In the final paragraph of his book on Becoming Human, which was a compilation of the 1998 CBC Massey Lectures, he writes, "Of course, all this takes time, but we are not all called to take this journey. But are we not all called to take this journey if we want to become fully human? If each of us today begins this journey, wherever we may be, in our families, our workplaces, with friends, or in places of worship or leisure, we can rise up and become agents of a new land. But," he concludes, "let us not put our sights too high. We do not have to be saviors of the world. We are simply human beings, enfolded in weakness and hope, called to change our world one heart at a time. It is my sincere wish that each of you will be among those hearts. Wherever your path may lead you, I wish you much personal satisfaction and fulfillment. Congratulations, and enjoy your special day." Thank you.